Moses Itauma, he's been announced. He's been announced for the Glasgow show, the one that Josh Taylor is headlining against Echo Usman. And he's fighting a guy by the name of Mike Balogun. All right. Now, Ade told me a bit about him. Apparently, he was a former football player, made a go of things, ran into Morak CF 2 years ago, was starched in 2 rounds. And since then, he's had one fight. That was last year, last March, actually. And he's not fought since then. And I have absolutely no issue with this guy as an opponent for Moses Itauma. No issue whatsoever. One of the reasons why I don't have an issue is because Itauma, for a variety of reasons, Itauma is young, he's still in the prospect stage, and some would say maybe he's a step down from a Dempsey McKean, and then how good really, maybe there's much of muchness between the two, you wouldn't really know. I haven't really seen much of this guy. But I don't mind it. And to be honest, knowing now that the Mike Tyson record, that's not going to be broken, right? They're not going to do it. For me, I look at Itauma and I think, all right, let's rein it in a little bit. Not that he's been looking bad, he hasn't, but you're not going to break Mike Tyson's record. It's just not going to happen, right? Because the timing and stuff like that. So now that that is no longer a thing, what's the point in rushing him? I don't really understand that. Frank Warren seems to maybe not get that memo and maybe thinks that, no, we'll rush him regardless whether he breaks Mike Tyson's record or not. Because there's a quote here on X, on the Ring Magazine's X account, and it's from Frank Warren on a recent interview with Sky Sports with regards Itauma. He said, and I quote, "I think Itauma could fight for a world title this year. Who knows, he may fight Usyk this year." Says he believes Itauma could fight for a world title in 2025 and believes a clash with Usyk may even be possible before the year is out. Now, Alexander Usyk, it's widely suspected he'll be facing Daniel Dubois in July, most likely here in London at Wembley Stadium. And with that, that is his second to last fight. He said basically he's 2 more fights and he's done. Now, the last fight apparently is going to be a bit of a gimmick fight, a bit of a kind of, victory lap, so to speak, so fight against an MMA guy whose name escapes me. But that's so essentially Dubois would be his last meaningful fight anyway. Now, they would have to offer an absolute massive incentive to get Alexander Usyk, if he beats Daniel Dubois, to fight Moses Itauma this year. Because if he has that gimmick fight, I would imagine that whoever it is, whether it be Ring, whether it be TKO, etc., 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 Turkey, they'll pump hell of a lot of money into that boxing UFC thing, because although they can be farcical, people still get interested in them. Mayweather McGregor, whether you love it or not, and believe me, I didn't love it, it's the second most bought boxing pay-per-view of all time, behind Pacquiao versus Mayweather. Fury versus Ngannou. Ngannou got 2 colossal paydays out of boxing. In 2 fights, he's made more than world champions who've had 40 fights have made combined, right, in 2 fights. It's insanity. So they'd have to offer a king's ransom to put Usyk in there with Itauma, you would imagine, at the end of this year. And my question is, why do we need to be doing this with young Itauma? He only turned 20 just after Christmas. Daniel Dubois is a world champion now. He won his title last year. He was, 26 years old? Yeah, let's put it in context. He's 26 years old. How old was Joshua when he won his first world title? 26, 27? A lot of these, and some of them are even older than that. Do we need to be rushing Itauma? I don't think we do. And I think that's Frank just for show. If they did do, we'll say, Moses Itauma versus Alexander Usyk, say something amazing happened and Usyk beats Dubois again, which I think he probably will. He decides to go out against the next. I think Itauma will do fantastic things in boxing, and go a bit like Mayweather Canelo, get him green, beat him, and then that win will age like a beautiful wine. That's maybe what he could do. If he does do that, right, you could run the risk of ruining Itauma, because I don't think that he'd have any chance of beating Usyk. I think that he'd get peppered with shots, he'd get outboxed, and I think although Usyk is slowing down, Itauma, when he gets cracked on the chin, how is he going to take it? He's been in there with Dempsey McKean, he's been in there with Marius Vac. There is an absolute chasm. There's a Grand Canyon between them and Alexander Usyk. So I don't like the fact that although he's not going to break Mike Tyson's record, they're still persistent with this fast track. I don't really like that. I wish they wouldn't do that. I think now that there's no need to fast track him. Listen, David Elia is going to rematch Jamie TKV, and that's going to have the British title on the line. Have him fight the winner. Have him fight the winner. Have him fight a Fraser Clark. You know, I think that Itauma is well able for the domestic scene, and I'm not going to mention Johnny Fisher because I don't think Johnny Fisher's even part of the domestic scene. I think that I look at the Dave Allen fight and I just think, well, what next? How are you going to sell him next? You know, only there was so much controversy. I don't even think what would you do with him? So I think focus on the domestic scene. See how you go at European. There's no need to rush Itauma now. Yeah, I know he's in the top 10 of most of the sanctioned bodies now, but truth be told, there is no need to rush him. Going for the Tyson record, you kind of have to rush him to do that. Well, it's not going to happen now. And say he wants to be the youngest British heavyweight champion. He's still got 2 years to break Kirby Hyde's record. Plenty of time. There's no need to rush him. I hope Frank is being, I hope he's trying to just talk and hype up Itauma with that, because I don't think he should be going in there with Alexander Usyk, to be honest with you. Certainly not this year. And, well, there won't be another year after this because Usyk won't be around, I don't think, and certainly in terms of boxing, next year. I don't think he will. So let me know your thoughts on that. Frank Warren saying that he wants Itauma to face Usyk, or thinks he could before the end of the year. I don't think he will. I don't think that'd be a good move at all. Let me know your thoughts. I hope you enjoyed the video. People, smash the like button if you could. Hit subscribe, of course, as always, if you haven't already. And until next time, peace.